You're on the Alex Jones Show here at Freedom Command Central. And we're going to break down for you the internal struggle over who will be President Donald Trump's next chief of staff. Now, you may remember when Reince Priebus, the former Republican national chairman, was Donald Trump's chief of staff, general chaos ensued. Anybody could stroll into the Oval Office without an appointment, without being on the presidential schedule, and just inadvertently drop paper for which there was no tracking system. Chaos ensued, and it was a process like this that gave you, for example, Rod Rosenstein as the Deputy Attorney General. Rosenstein was promoted for that job by Priebus. There was clearly no vetting to show that Rosenstein was a rat. That's why we're stuck with him. Then General John Kelly came in, pushed by Steve Bannon. The first thing that Kelly did was to purge Anthony Scaramucci, who enjoyed a warm personal relationship with the president and wasn't afraid to go out and take the president's critics on in public. Then, ironically, the next person that Kelly purged was his patron, Steve Bannon, the man who got Kelly to DHS and then got him into the White House chief of staff job. Bannon was gone. Now, it is abundantly clear that General Kelly knew about credible claims of spousal abuse by White House Cabinet Secretary Rob Porter. We know that the FBI gave their background report, which is required for security clearance, to the Chief of Staff, Priebus, in June, that Priebus passed the information on to his successor in July. And very clearly, Kelly knew about these allegations, but promoted Porter anyway. Why? It's very simple. You see, Mr. Porter was Mr. Kelly's, General Kelly's, candidate for Chief of Staff after Kelly moves on to be the Secretary of Defense. Yes, it is widely thought inside the Trump circle that General Pettis, currently the first military non-civilian Secretary of Defense in recent memory, will not fill out the entire term, and General Kelly aspires to that job. I can tell you as a longtime veteran of Trump world that you can't leave the job you're in now unless you have a candidate to replace you. And Mr. Porter, a Bush Republican whose father, Roger Porter, is among the president's most vicious critics, a veteran anti-Trumper, was in line for the job until now. General Kelly is, to use a colloquial term, toast, and he knows it. And he's begun telling intimates that he's leaving. Meanwhile, a search goes on to find somebody who will take this soul-crushing job. This is an all-consuming job. And yes, Donald Trump is a tough taskmaster. He wants the best, and he wants it now. Now, as I reported on the show earlier, we know that he felt out his best friend, Tom Barrack, the chairman of Colony Capital, a Los Angeles-based real estate opportunity fund, about taking this job, but that Barrack, who would have been excellent in terms of his managerial skills and his shrewd political judgments and his loyalty to Donald Trump personally, declined this high honor. Now, the president also has felt out his current cabinet officer, Mick Mulvaney, who is getting high marks inside the administration. But Mulvaney aspires to go back to his native Oklahoma to run for governor, and that leaves him out. Sean Hannity has advocated the appointment of one of the great Washington wise men, Wayne Berman. Now, although Berman has a long history of raising money for establishment Republican candidates like John McCain and George W. Bush and George H.W. Bush, Berman was a longtime lobbyist and advisor to Donald Trump, someone the president knows, likes, and trusts. Berman is also among the most capable and discreet individuals in Washington. This is Sean Hannity's candidate. Whether Berman is under consideration, we don't know. Also reportedly in the running is David Urban. David Urban is a former choir boy, Catholic NRA member whose father was an iron worker from Western Pennsylvania. He is a veteran of some distinction, but more importantly, he ran a terrific campaign on the ground in Pennsylvania, a crucial state for Donald Trump. Early on, Urban desired to be Republican national chairman, a job for which he was passed over, and now reportedly in line to be ambassador of Saudi Arabia. Urban would also be an excellent and most capable choice, a man capable of enormous discretion, but super organized. And then there's the one candidate that disturbs me the most. That would be Goldman Sachs alum Gary Cohn. Now, Mr. Cohn, you may recall, was the Trump advisor who wanted the president to sign the Paris Climate Accords. He incredibly gave an interview to the New York Post that said that the president was flying to Europe to, quote, get smart, and that his views on the matter of global warming were, quote, evolving, close quote. At that time, Mr. Cohn aspired to be chairman of the Federal Reserve. That isn't going to happen in the wake of his performance. He is a great advocate of carbon credits, carbon tax credits, another lousy liberal idea that would benefit Goldman Sachs, but not the American people. He was unable to sell the president on that either. You can clearly see his fingerprints over the president's new infrastructure plan. It was written for, by, and with Goldman Sachs. The good news is that it's not going to pass in its current form. The president's instincts are exactly right. We need to rebuild our roads, our bridges, our tunnels, our airports, our infrastructure. But we need better tools to do it. This plan, the Goldman Sachs plan, the Gary Cohn plan, is designed to allow Goldman Sachs to sell more municipal bonds and little else. So there you have it, an inside the Beltway breakdown on those who might be the president's next chief of staff. Reportedly, the president's son-in-law and his daughter are pushing Gary Cohn. How a liberal Democrat from Goldman Sachs got inside the building to begin with is hard to say.
We will make America great again.